Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Haribo,
Hare
Haribo,
Ram,
Haribo.
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Please take a seat.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada,
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Everyone, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to Bhaktivedanta Manor on this eve of the Easter weekend as we all prepare to go on holiday. We're here for the Sadhu Sanga evening. Today we're very, very fortunate. We're here in the Bhagavatam. When Yudhishthira Maharaj sees his uncle Vidura, he recites a very beautiful verse. Bhavat bhida bhagavatas tirtha bhuta swayam vibho tirthi kurvant tirthani swanta sthena gada bhrutaha. He says that you are such a special devotee that you yourself purify the tirthas, or you carry the tirtha to where you go. Here we are at Bhaktivedanta Manor, which is a tirtha, and yet we have the tirthas that have come here, and therefore rejuvenating our enthusiasm as we serve here at Bhaktivedanta Manor, as we serve Sri Sri Radha Gokulananda. Can we please, very enthusiastically, with 3 loud Haribols, welcome our very special guests, His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu, Her Grace Nirakula Mataji, His Grace Gauranga Prabhu, and we also have His Grace Yaduva Prabhu, who is here. Please, hands in the air, very enthusiastic. Haribol! 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 So these Sadhu Sangas happen regularly, hoping once a month to be able to arrange an evening like this where the community can get together. The topic of this evening's discussion is community building in the Gaudiya tradition. We will ask His Holiness Keshava Swami to please come on stage and introduce the topic, after which we will ask our guests to say a few words and share some realizations on this topic as well. So can we please welcome on stage Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj. Haribo!
Hare Krishna. So it's really a wonderful evening here. Before I begin, put your hands up and give us a loud Haribol if you are attending Rise 2025. Okay, wonderful. And the rest of you, 50% of your life is wasted. Don't worry, there's always 2026. But it's a great time at Bhaktivedanta Manor. This week is just a week full of wonderful association. And it's worth the journey, it's worth the time, it's worth the effort to come here to spend, as Vaishnav said, a few moments with the saintly people who have taken the trouble to travel all the way here. I'll just tell you a story, actually. I was at the morning program this morning, just to let you know, I was at Mangalarati. And I came to Mangalarati, and at 5:15 I sat down to chant. And you know, when we begin the japa period, we want to get our hands in a bead bag and begin. And so I did, but I noticed someone next to me who was at the manor for the first time, clearly new. And you know, the japa time can be a little bit also existentially unnerving for someone who's never seen it before, you know. Sometimes we tell them, yeah, we just chant and be happy, and they're looking around and everyone looks a little more intense than happy. Anyway, so this person was next to me, and cut a long story short, he said, this is my first time at Mangalarati. And I said, oh wow, that's beautiful. Where did you come from? He said, I came from Wembley. I said, that's even more beautiful. Wembley is a tirtha. But you know the amazing thing? This person left home at midnight and walked all the way from Wembley to the manor to come here for Mangalarati. So he said, I left at midnight, and it took me 3.5 hours to come here, and I walked, and he said it was worth every step. Because to be, and he said to me, to be with Vaishnavas is the greatest gift we can have in our life. So today we're speaking about community, and in a community there can be so many difficulties. There's sometimes misunderstanding, there's sometimes a feeling of disconnection, but actually there's so much beauty, there's so much wealth, there's so much opportunity. And what our speakers will do today is they'll unlock some of that for us. How can we benefit from being in community? But more importantly, what can we do as members of the community to create this community? You see, we can be in a mood of complaining, or we can be in a mood of contributing. You see, we can be in a mood of criticizing, or we can decide to be in the mood of understanding. We can be in the mood of competing, or we can decide to be in the mood of collaborating. In this way, each one of us have the opportunity to make Bhaktivedanta Manor a beautiful community. It's already beautiful, and we all have that opportunity through our own conduct, through our own Vaishnava character, and through our own spiritual nourishment and progress. So we're really, really happy to be here, and we're so happy that His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu and Gauranga Prabhu are going to address us. So do you have your questions ready? They'll both speak for about half an hour each, and then we'll kind of open it out and see what questions you may have. Does it sound good? Yeah. Okay, wonderful. That wasn't loud. You can do 3 times that. Are you ready? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hariharai Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha
Hariharai Namah
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha
Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan
Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana
Giridhari Gopinath Madan Mohan
Giridhari Gopinath Madan
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita
Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita
Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita
Shri Rup Sri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath
Shri Rup Sri Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasu Raghunath
Shri Gopala Bhatta
Hey Chai Gosai Jar Muitar Das
Chai Gosai Vitarda
Tan Sabara Pararin Mora Panchagras
Asabara Bhattavina Panchagras
Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivas
Sadera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas
Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivas
Sadera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas
Janame Janame Hoy E Abhilash
Janame Janame Hoye Abhilash
Chai Gosai Jabe Raje Kolabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Koila Prakash Say Shri Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Koila Prakash Bolo Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Bolo Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majamiyaman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyash Hari Nam Sankirtan Gohe Narottamo Das Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You sound good. Great effect. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Shri Harinam Mantra ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu ki, Gaur Premanande. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Thank you for having us. We're delighted to be here in this shining community as an example for people all over the world. And I offer my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, who gave us such insight into how to live together, and what ways in which one can form a community that's productive for everyone in it. It's not easy living with others. The Goshtiyanandi's greatest austerity is tolerating those around him or her. Human beings have differences. Prabhupada gave us the wherewithal to do that for a higher purpose, and it's edifying and makes for a great life, doesn't it? Say yes. And I offer my respectful obeisances to all of you. Thank you very much for all that you're doing for the world collectively. It's making a huge difference, and will continue to do so, and it'll become more and more noticeable as time goes by in this Kali Yuga because of your good qualities. Vancha kalpadribhascha kripasinabheva patitanam bhavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. In thinking about community, I think about the way that we first started our community in California. I live in California, and my wife and I moved there so that I could be close to the San Francisco airport. Not because I'm a pilot or that I like to hear airplanes flying over, but I had service in the airport. And we lived there for some time when a van full of brahmacharis and a sannyasi came and landed near us. and started a center in a house. And after some time, the leader of that fledgling community, after a very short amount of time, went somewhere else, and there were a few ducklings there trying to make it on their own, and they came quacking at our door one day and said, "Why don't you come and take a look at what we have?" Which was Radha Krishna deities in a house, like somebody's living room, full-size Radha Krishna deities, and Mahaprabhu with his hands like this. And that started what was a lifeline for us, living there, doing service near the airport, and then this small community came, or the seed form of it came, and then we were involved from the very beginning in working together with those devotees and watching the community grow. So I have a few observations from that have become principles by which we've held together our community over many years. One of them is that in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he's teaching Sanatana Goswami, talks about 64 items of devotional service and then says there are 5 that are particularly powerful. And I love it when he does that, because there's ways in which throughout the Shastra there's so many rules and regulations and many varieties of services and rituals and ways that you can do things, and devotional services, same 64 items, and all of them are relishable, but he says 5 are particularly important, and that if you do these 5 even a little bit, then you'll be successful, even if you don't have faith in them. And when we had our community, and in its growth stage, we, after hearing that verse, decided that this could be the center point for the community, that we would put these 5 in order so that everyone could have a touch point with them. And even if it was a little bit, according to Lord Chaitanya, then everyone would be successful. And those 5, I'm assuming, are behind me on a screen somewhere. Is that true? Yes. Can you see them? Yes. And I think it says the 5 most, I can't read it from here, most powerful, what does it say? Most potent, okay. Similar words, same. Bhakti practices. And, of course, most devotees know that's deity worship and association with devotees, chanting Hare Krishna, living in a holy place, and, what did I miss? And hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, the association of devotees. And keeping a simple formula can be very helpful. If these 5 are available to a community of devotees, whether it's 2, a community of 2, is that legal to say that? Is it, can you have a community of 2? My understanding of the word community is that you have something in common and you're working for a common purpose. So I suppose you could say 2. 2 or 200 or 2,000 or 200,000. If you have a center point as a principle that you adhere to, this would be the one I recommend. And coming back to the main points, the way the Hare Krishna movement started in the first place was with Advaita Acharya having a Bhagavad Gita class in his courtyard that everyone was invited to. And then he would discuss Bhagavad Gita with the devotees, and then he prayed to Lord Chaitanya, please come. So having an open Bhagavad Gita class is one of the ways in which community starts, because when people hear it, then they naturally get inspired by Krishna from within their hearts, and they want to do something to help other people come in contact with that. And isn't that what Prabhupada did when he came to America? He went out and chanted, and then he's had a open Bhagavad Gita class in a storefront. And it didn't go much farther after that, right? Who was laughing in the back? Didn't go very far, right? Say, no, Vaisesika Das, wrong. It expanded from there, just from the hearing and chanting that Prabhupada did. That was the inspiration. And then Prabhupada instituted these other simple processes that one could stay in touch with, the basic principles of bhakti. And so, Occam's razor says that usually the simplest solution is the best. And if you can find a principle that's applicable in all times and places, and you keep coming back to it, it's very helpful. So that's one of them. And when I first got to that small community and we started working together there and talking about what's important, I had suggested that we have a common goal, which would be to expand our outreach. When I first came there to the little meeting they had, it was one of their first board meetings. I think there were 5 people there who were early members of that community, and they said, could you come? And I came and sat in, and they asked me for advice, and I said, what would you like to achieve? And they had drawn a picture of a temple. They said, we want a temple on a hill. And I said, then I can't help you because I don't want a temple on a hill. I want to expand the outreach and then have the temple on the hill dropped upon our heads by Krishna's arrangement. And they were open-minded and very young and open to anything. They just wanted to get something going. So we decided to base our small community at that time on outreach. And the most measurable type of outreach that I knew of at the time is distributing books. So we took to that, and that became a common theme for our community. I was the youngest in my family of 4, and then I was a brahmachari and one of the younger disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and I never liked kids because maybe I never met any younger than me in my family or in the movement that much. But then I started noticing at our community that there were kids. And my first notice of them would be that they would tromp through the Srimad Bhagavatam class while we were conducting it without a care in the world, or noticing that they were walking through a group of devotees who were hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And then I started noticing that they were exceptional. Little by little, I noticed that, and I got fascinated with how they were born into families where the chanting Hare Krishna, where the devotees were chanting Hare Krishna, and I saw they must be some special souls, and then I started to realize more and more that they were. And then I started realizing more and more that they were one of the main pillars of a community. And so I gave more and more attention to the young people, partly because they were non-judgmental, and it was really easy to be around them and have programs. And then I started doing more research about how to give more facility to young people. I wanted to know what they thought when they were growing up and what it felt like to be an adolescent in Hare Krishna movement. In fact, I called some devotees who were already grown up, but they had been through that. Like Genevieve Harrison I talked to for some time, and she told me how she had met Jamuna and had been deeply inspired by her, and when she was leaving her home and driving away, she thought, yeah, I'm going to be a devotee. And then I got together a group of young people who were my godbrothers and godsisters who had been initiated at a young age, some of them at 12, Prabhupada gave initiation to. And I wanted to know from them what inspired them and what was a hindrance in their progress. And after some conferences, they came up with these two mantras. One of them was in the middle of this pentagon that you see there. What helped them the most was seeing peers doing great. And the thing that held them back the most, they said, was not having upward mobility. They felt at the time there wasn't any opening for them for taking on service or management or anything like that. And then I started noticing that young people gravitated oftentimes, and in many places around ISKCON, to kirtan. And I started some interaction with the kids where we had not just kirtan, but also some of the other things you see here. Shlokas, Shravanam, hearing from Prabhupada's books. Then, of course, kirtanam. And then visits to the Dham. And also learning book distribution. So I saw those as 5 points that could be really helpful. And we started several programs like Youth Jam, Shastra Jam, Japa Jolt, and Youth Yatra. Why am I bringing this up regarding community? Because people care about their kids, right? Now really say yes. Yeah. I mean, and when the kids are becoming Krishna conscious and well-rounded, and they actually cross that threshold where they say, no, I want to be a devotee. It's not that I was a devotee, I'm growing up and I'm going to move on and do something else. They feel part of the mission, and they start taking responsibilities like initiation and also wanting to do service. And they're really smart too. And they bring in everybody else. They bring in the rest of the community. It enlivens them. So I made these 2 pentagons. One of them is a reminder that it all comes back to Shravanam Kirtanam. There's no point to coming together for niceties if there's no transcendental sound vibration. And the community is all based on hearing and chanting, and then distributing to as many people as possible. And if we have those as a center point, and if we feel that we're flagging in one way or another, we can always remember that the antidote to that is to hear and chant more and increase the transcendental sound vibration. That's helpful to know, and it's the verdict of the Shastra that that's our main process. And it feels good too when everyone comes together to hear and chant. And then the other pentagon about the children, giving them full facility for these 5 things: learning Shastra, learning slokas, hearing and chanting, and so forth, and then giving them facility to do services. Uplifts the whole community. Another aspect of enlivening the community is brand new people who have never heard of Hare Krishna. And they come, just as Maharaj was describing the person who walked to the temple, which reminded me of a story I heard about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, that a child once showed up at one of the Gaudiya Mats early in the morning. And it was mostly sannyasis there in his mutt. So some of the sannyasis after Mangalarti went over and said, where did you come from? He said, I walked from my village. And how far was it? It was 20 kilometers. And they were so impressed, they asked him, well, why did you come here? And he said, well, I heard there was a Mangalartik that takes place here every day. And he had heard the 9th verse of the Kuruvashtakam was, Srimad Gurur Ashtakam Etarusha Rame Muhurte Patita Prayatna Yastena Vrindavanananta Sakshat Sevai Valabhya Janashonta Eva, which says, anyone who sings this loudly during the Brahma Muhurta will go directly back home, back to Godhead. So he said, I came here to sing it. They took him to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he interviewed him for a few minutes, and he said, get him a bicycle. And they did. And he used to come to Mangalartik. And this idea of getting somebody a bicycle, that's the idea that when somebody comes here, they're a special soul. So we want to facilitate them in whatever way we can. And anyone who does anything every day for a long time can take it for granted. But when somebody new comes in, you see it through their eyes, and you vicariously experience what it's like for the first time to see the temple, to see the deities. If you have somebody over to your house, they may walk in and say, oh, where'd you get that painting? It's like, oh, that? I haven't seen it in 20 years until you saw it and mentioned that it's here. And this is the other aspect, which we call the lifeblood of the temple, is that when new people come, we extend ourselves and make sure that they feel welcome. And when people feel welcome and appreciated, and they're given a clear understanding of how to move around in the temple and to feel comfortable, they'll want to come back. But there's a greater effect on the community, which is that we see the new people and we see their enthusiasm, and we may think, oh, that's more than mine. And that's what again and again revitalizes the community. It's the lifeblood of new people coming in and us facilitating them so that they can feel part of the Sangha. Prabhupada gave instructions to Karandar, who was one of the very talented early leaders of the Hare Krishna movement. In Los Angeles, he became among the first batch of GBCs. And there's a memo that Prabhupada wrote him in which he said to him that as a leader, you should always create a fresh challenge so that devotees will want to rise up and meet it. Create a fresh challenge so that devotees will want to rise up and meet it. And in as much as community means a common goal, when we have a common goal, a goal to reach for together as a community, and we feel enlivened to achieve it together, there's a way in which we see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's hand in everything. For instance, if you have a particular goal and you work together, and at first it seems impossible, as many goals do. We're here now, how are we going to get to here? And you work together towards it, you may notice after you've achieved it that you didn't really do it. You just did as much as you could, and Lord Chaitanya somehow or other provided the resources, the intelligence, the energy. And then from that, the entire community feels, yes, this is a transcendental movement. And when we have onward goals, we have progressive goals that we're working together on, we get that experience again and again. And it's one of the aspects of community that keeps the spiritual flow current through all of us, to working towards what seem to be slightly impossible goals and reaching them. Do you agree? Have you experienced that? Just say yes. And finally, I just say that communities change over time. Nothing ever stays the same. My wife and I recently took a retreat just so we could see how we're doing, because we're often so busy that it's hard to notice. In fact, while we were on the retreat, she said to me, "Are we okay?" Yeah, I think so. Let's talk about it and see. And when we talked about it, we could see, yeah, I think we're doing okay. And it's helpful to look and see how we're doing at any given time. And also remember that things change. We were young, and suddenly on the retreat we compared notes, and it turns out that we're not young anymore. That was a revelation. And that may happen in a community also. You may be working towards these worthy goals and hearing and chanting and so forth, and then realize the community is very different than it was 5 years ago or a decade ago and so forth. And you might be alarmed as much as you might be alarmed if someone told you you're old all of a sudden. But it's not unhealthy. It just means that, like everything else in this world, it changes into something else. But if we appreciate what we have and who we have at every given stage, by taking stock and being grateful for what we have already, it can be very helpful, because oftentimes with goal setting, and although this may sound contradictory to what I just said, is always having the next thing to look for. Simultaneously, in a community, it's important to take time to talk about what we actually have now and be grateful for it. In our temple community, which is a little one-horse town compared to this, out in the west, on Sunday evenings after the program, the community gets together and sits together, and we have some bhajans. And one of the aspects that the devotees have come to like is that we share realizations and talk about how we're all doing. Guhyamakyati Prichiti. And during those times when you actually hear from the community members, you'll start to feel that, oh, I didn't know that guy was so smart. Or you realize that somebody has some anxiety you didn't know because they're always smiling. And you get to know the devotees in the community. That's why Kuyam Akyati Prichiti, sharing what's in your heart with the rest of the community members, is really important. And we needn't be afraid of doing that because we're among friends. And if we deliberately do that, to hear what others are thinking, and also just some sessions where you appreciate what you already have, can be uplifting to everybody in the community. What do you think? Yes, about what? Everything? Like everything I said? Oh, about sharing? Okay. So those are a few thoughts that I tried to boil into principles that you can apply at any time, in any place. I have 1 minute left, so let me just see if we can review them. How many things do you think I said? As that you could put into a category of a principle. 5? 14?
5 potent forms.
Oh, 5 potent forms, that's one. That's just a reminder that the genesis of all good things is hearing and chanting. So if you don't like what you're being subjected to, change the subject. Go back to the Bhagavatam. And if all else fails, and it will, chant Hare Krishna. Okay, what's the next main principle? Engage the youth. And there's a plethora of ways. If you look at the Pentagon, it's a healthy mix of many things. Not just one thing or two things, but if you put the main things in, and they have that facility, that's really powerful for community building. Can anybody give a couple more really quick, 30 seconds? Pardon me? Yeah, having reflections, having time to share what's actually in your heart with other people in the community and hear what they have to say. Guyamakati Prachiti. Fresh challenge, who said it? Yes. Fresh challenges, create a fresh challenge for the community, and you had another one? Oh, Hare Krishna. New people coming in is the lifeblood. And if they do come in, get them a bicycle. Or a Tesla or whatever. Just help them to get here for Mangalarti. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you, sir.
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मृतं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे Krishna. Thank you, Vaisesika Maharaj, for a fantastic description about the principles of community. I'll begin with a story where Srila Prabhupada, in the very initial days, 1965-66, in that period when he just started giving lectures, so the room was filled with various hippies, somewhere high on drugs. And Srila Prabhupada on that day was speaking on the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and he spoke about Vaikuntha. And after his talk, one of the guests, like one of the hippies who was high on drugs, he raised his hand and he said, Swamiji, in your talk you spoke about Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha. What is that Vaikuntha? And Prabhupada looked at this person with great compassion and he was thinking, how do I explain Vaikuntha to someone who's already on an easy journey to other planets? You know. But because of that compassion, he looked at him intensely and he said, Vaikuntha, it is like an ocean of LSD. And that man said, oh, I want to go there. So Srila Prabhupada created the context. The community in 1965-66 is different from the community in 1976, and it's very different from the community in 2025. Things do keep changing. So this topic came up as part of my master's thesis, which is published from the Mumbai University. And Himangi Mataji, she said she wanted to take this as part of the devotee care initiative. So I'll just share with you some principles from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, because I wanted to do a master's on this and then do a PhD, which I've now registered for, as part of a sequel, so that we can try to unpack some of these principles. And from this analysis of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, few points I'll just like to share. Principles of community building. First is respectful deliberation amidst differences of opinion, and that was alluded to by Vaisesika Maharaj. In Kali Yuga, it's going to be a very regular affair where there will be differences. But how can we have dialogue, deliberation, discussion, even in the midst of disagreement? Is that possible? Can we have cooperation and collaboration instead of conflict and competition? Lord Chaitanya dealing with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, great example. Lord Chaitanya told him, I am willing to hear for 7 days. And he was sitting and hearing for 7 days. And this is Nimai Pandit, the scholar par excellence from Navadvip, who knows practically all of the scriptures, the logic, the reason, everything. But he was humble enough to sit quietly and hear for 7 days. And then he says that Sotrera arta bhashya kohe prakashiya tumi bhashya kah sutrera arta achadiya. That you have spoken some commentaries on Vedanta Sutra, but your commentaries seem to be like clouds which have covered over. And I can't understand this. And so, Lord Chaitanya specifically says This is not what Vyasdev gave. Vyasa Sutrera Artha Jaiche Suryera Kiran Swakalpita Bhashya Meghe Kore Achadan. So Vyasdev's explanations are like the sun, but your interpretations are like the cloud which has covered it over. So Lord Chaitanya was quiet for 7 days, but when he spoke, he was gentle, but he was firm. And he expressed what he wanted to express. And then he said that Vyasdev has written all the Vedic literatures for delivering the conditioned souls. Jiveranistara lagi sutra koila vyas mayavad bhashya shunile hoi sarvanash. So this famous verse was spoken by Lord Chaitanya in this conversation with Sarabhauma Bhattacharya. He disagreed with Sarabhauma Bhattacharya. He was very firm in his disagreement, but he was very respectful in putting forward his disagreement. And therefore, what comes across as the most powerful aspect while negotiating disagreement is the culture with which we approach this. The culture should be that of respect, the culture should be that of reciprocation and trying to understand the truth rather than trying to prove who is right or who is wrong. And Srila Prabhupada, when he was in Amritsar, and many times, devotees take this quite literally, and when we speak about Mayavad, sometimes various kinds of disagreements do manifest, arguments manifest. Prabhupada was in Amritsar, and there was like a sammelan, a gathering. Various people were speaking about spiritual aspects of Hinduism, and most of the interpretations were all monistic. So Srila Prabhupada suddenly got up and started walking away. So there was this devotee who was going to speak, who was like waiting for Srila Prabhupada to come on stage, and he approached Srila Prabhupada and he said, Srila Prabhupada, you are the next speaker, where are you going? Prabhupada said, they're all speaking, the philosophy, everything is one, everything is one. I'm not very inspired to stay here and speak. Better you speak. And this devotee said, Srila Prabhupada, I am very new. How can I speak? You are supposed to speak. And Prabhupada said, the level at which they are speaking, whatever you know is more than enough. And Prabhupada walked away. And this devotee, he came on the stage and he said, you're all saying everything is one, everything is one. So I have a question for the audience. Is stool on the street same as Rasgulla the sweet? And the audience was shocked because they were all like elderly Indian sadhus, Hindu sadhus. After his speech, there was a stir, and they came to Srila Prabhupada complaining, and they said, your disciple, he's speaking very disrespectfully. Prabhupada said, what happened? And they said, he's telling us to eat the stool. Prabhupada called this devotees, did you say that? He says, no, I just gave an example that everything is one, they are saying. So can Rasgulla the sweet be same as stool on the street? I just gave an example to make a point. Prabhupada turned to these, complaining sadhus and told them, my American disciples, they give very graphic examples. So, excuse them. I apologize. Please go. I'll take care of this. So, Prabhupada was very gentle, very respectful, and they left. Then Prabhupada turned to this devotee and he said, what was that? Rasgulla, the sweet, and stool on the street. Excellent example. So, the important thing is time, place, and circumstance. When Bhishma Dev sees Pandavas along with Lord Krishna entering, Tan Sametan Mahabhaga Upalabhya Vasuttama Pujayan Asa Dharmagya Desha Kala Vibhagavit. That Bhishma could not lift a single finger, a single limb, because every inch of his body was inundated with arrows. He could not offer the traditional hospitality. What options he had? There was only one organ which could move, the tongue. So as per time, place and circumstance, he offered welcome verbally what was possible within those constraints. So therefore, this is the first principle in community, that differences of opinion may be there, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu resorted to respectful deliberations. And when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya becomes a devotee, and then in the morning Lord Chaitanya goes to meet him and gives the Mahaprasad, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is, without even taking a bath, offers obeisances to that Mahaprasad and honors it. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in ecstasy. And he says that Ajimui anayase jininu tribhuvan, Ajimui karinu Vaikuntha arohan. Today I feel that I have conquered over the three worlds. I feel I have attained Vaikuntha. And why do I feel like that? Because Ajimura Purna Hoila, Sarva Abhilash, Sarva Bhaumer Hoila, Mahaprasadi Vishwas. Today, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who is supposed to be a monist, who doesn't have faith in the Lord's energies, is now respecting the Lord's Mahaprasad, which means he is accepting the deity as transcendental and the Lord's remnants as respectable. That means there has been a major transformation. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciated the fact that it's difficult to transform people's hearts in this world. Even more difficult to transform the hearts and opinions of highly intellectual people. And therefore, when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was transformed through Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's genius, Lord Chaitanya was very, very blissful to see that transformation. But the way he enabled that was in a very respectful manner. Second is, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as part of his community of devotees, had fulfilling discussions with persons of the same ideology. As Vaisesika Maharaj mentioned, 6 loving exchanges. Madchitta, Madgata, Prana, Bodhayanta, Parasparam. And as Bhagavatam says, Parasparanukathanam, Pavanam Bhagavat Yasha, Mitha Rati, Mitha Tushti, Nivritta, Mitha Atmana. Mitha means an activity performed between two. In this world, the highest pleasure is experienced through maithun or sex. But there is something which is higher than that. Mitha Rati, higher pleasure. Mitha Tushti, higher satisfaction. And that is through two people coming together to exchange Krishna Katha. Parasparanu Kathanam, Pavanam, it is purifying, Bhagavat Yasha, the glories of the Lord. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally demonstrated this. And as an example, he is discussing with Thakur Haridas. So interestingly, the Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Sannyasi Pandita Ganer Korite Garvanash, Niche Shudra Dwara Kore Dharmera Prakash. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a particular approach. He smashed the pride of sannyasi and Brahman born scholars. Korite Garvanash. He did not give them so much opportunities to be his representative as much as Neech Shudra Dwara Kore Dharmera Prakash, as those from the last mile in society. Haridasa Dwara Nama Mahatmya Prakash Sanatana Dwara Bhakti Siddhanta Vilas. He chose Thakur Haridas, who was not even from the Hindu community, to be the representative for Harinam. And Sanatan Goswami, who was also outcast from the Hindu community because of being aligned with Nawab Hussain Shah, to be the representative for Bhakti Siddhanta establishment. And therefore, when Lord Chaitanya is with Thakur Haridas, he is asking in a very humble manner to Thakur Haridas that Haridas kolikale yavana apar go brahmana himsa kore mahadurachar. Oh Thakur Haridas, please tell me, what will happen to the people in this age of Kali? There are so many yavanas who are not following the Varnashrama principles. And go brahmana himsa kare, they are violent towards cows and the Brahmanical culture. And they are not following the proper principles of dharma. What will happen to them? And my greatest anxiety, O Thakur Haridas, is Iha sabar ko namate hoibe nistar tahar hetu na dekhiye e dukha apar. I am wondering, can the souls of Kali ever be delivered? And thinking and contemplating like this, I experience great distress. So Lord Chaitanya is sharing his anxieties, sharing his insecurities, sharing his feelings with another devotee. So all of us need that support in a community. So you may say, hey, Lord Chaitanya, he came, Yagya Sankirtana Praya Janti Sumedasha Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishna. Why is he doing? Is it a drama or what? Why is he doing like this? No, he is actually feeling that anxiety. And he is revealing that anxiety to Thakur Haridas. So Thakur Haridas is also not, rubbishing it. Say, come on, Lord, what is this? If you are in anxiety, what will happen? People will be in anxiety hearing that. No, Thakur Haridas understands Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in anxiety. So Srila Prabhupada also would be in anxiety. Great powerful personalities, the leader of the community, they will also be in anxiety. So sometimes we think, oh, they are the leader. So our job is to keep bombarding them. So devotee care includes leader also. Right? So it is not that devotee care for others and for leader it is devotee's care. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in anxiety and Thakur Haridas respects that. And how he responds is very interesting. And the first thing Haridas Thakur says, Haridasa kahe Prabhu chinta na koriha yavana samsara dekhi dukkha na bhaviha. Please do not be in anxiety. Why? There is the holy name which has descended. He is telling Lord Chaitanya. And one may think, hey, what is this going on? Lord Chaitanya appeared to give the name. But that's the beauty of satsanga. Each one of us at different points in our journey will be put in situations that the very solutions we have shared with others, we may not be able to access that when we need it. Because mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. At that time, we need others to help tell us. Sanatan Goswami has heard the entire Sanatan Shiksha over 2 months at Varanasi. And after that, within short duration, Sanatan Goswami is so hopeless because he got sick. And he got the skin infection. Because of that, he became so hopeless that he is planning, I will commit suicide. Where has all the philosophy gone? The philosophy is there, but still there are moments we become so vulnerable. We need the support of the devotees. We need the help of the devotees. And so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling him, hey, what is this? You think you are useless? I have got so many plans for you. Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Prema Seva Pravartan Lukta Tirtha Uddhara Ara Vairagya Shikshan. Are you are supposed to be going and recreating the whole Vrindavan, establishing the lost holy places, writing all the literatures. I have all these plans for you. You are supposed to be an instrument in my hands. You can't be in such a hopeless state. So Sanatan Goswami is highly intellectual, highly philosophical, big scholar, very influential, very powerful personality. But there are moments where he is also prone to be so vulnerable that he has become hopeless. And therefore, the community of devotees is needed so that we can have these conversations, and through those conversations, we can actually revive and recreate hope and feel that, yes, this is what I want to do in this association of devotees. This is what is my mission, and you need that support from others. So, Prabhupada says, this is the way in which we should approach the community of devotees, where Thakur Haridas is telling Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Haridasa kohe Prabhu chintana kariha. Don't worry. I am there for you. I am there with you. I am there to support you. We need that assurance. Even the leaders need that assurance. Even those who are very big scholars and who are always been at the forefront, who are leading things, they may need that. And within a family, each member may need that. So we should always remember that. Yesterday I was just sharing this pastime that when we started the eco-village, there was a lot of skepticism, why we should be doing this and why we should not be doing this and all that. And initially it was like a small simple place where 25 acres was there, one kitchen building was there where 2-3 brahmacharis were staying. And it was infested with snakes and wild boars, the whole place. And one of these brahmacharis would snore so loudly that the boars would run away. So, they were kind of brahmacharis who did not like the city, so they were very happy there. And the brahmacharis in the city, they didn't like the village. So we were happy where we were. So, but then when Radhanath Swami started saying that we need to develop the eco-village, that's where the anxiety began. Because none of us like to be pushed out of our comfort zone. And Maharaj always quotes from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhakti begins when you move out of your comfort zone. Right? Bhakti begins when we move out of the comfort zone, because there was a time when none of the brahmacharis, like Maharaj said, I want this eco-village as a gift on my 60th birthday. I told him, now you are putting emotional pressure. That's not fair. And he said, you guys are not listening to regular instruction. What can I do? So then, I put up a sheet in the Chopati Brahmachari Ashram. Any brahmachari want to sign up to offer their services for the next 2 to 3 years as a gift, as an offering for the 60th birthday. Please sign up. And I expected it to be full. And after 1 week, it was blank. And I told Maharaj, it's not working. We have only one option, to shift brahmacharis who have no option. And who are that? Trainees. The new bhaktas who freshly graduated. And they were all sitting, and Maharaj came to give a talk, and they thought it's the graduation ceremony lecture. And the next thing they knew was they landed up at the eco-village, the whole batch of 25, May 1st, 2010, Labor Day. So, to cut a long story short, there were a lot of people who were very upset. The congregation could not, figure out what was going on. The vision was not clear. The brahmacharis who shifted there in the peak of summer, they were asking me, why are we here? And I was telling them, I am also asking the same question. So let's not prolong the conversation. Let's continue. There seems to be a plan. Krishna will reveal it. And then the biggest challenge was from the finance team, the finance committee. What's going on? What's the plan here? How long are you going to be there? How much are you going to spend? What's coming out of this? Nothing is coming out. So then one of the finance committee members made a very heavy statement to me. He said, you should go and tell, Radhanath Maharaj, this project, Govardhan Eco Village. And he was like very emotional, And he said, this Govardhan Eco Village, it's like a black hole. Any amount of money you put in, black hole. Tell him that. Don't tell my name. I'm revealing in confidence because my heart is very heavy. Because I can't handle this. I get emotional when there is expense like this. Expense without cause. I said, there is a cause. I can't see it. You can't see it. He's seeing it. He's seeing it. One day we will also see. He says, no. So I told Radhanath Swami, Maharaj, people are questioning this. He said, who is questioning? Someone. Who is that someone? It's in confidence. What is confidence? I'm saying, don't ask me those questions. I'll tell you the comment. I said, what's the comment? He said, this devotee was telling, this Govardhan Eco Village project is like a black hole. And Maharaj immediately, within 1 second, he said, yes, it is a black hole. I said, who? You agree? He said, Krishna is black and he is the absolute whole. So, he was very clear that Srila Prabhupada wants a community centered around the deities in a farm with cow protection, agriculture, education, Vrindavan and retreat center. If that's what the Acharyas want, we should do it no matter how difficult it is, because ultimately community is centered around pleasing the parampara, pleasing the Acharyas. And we continued on the journey with limited faith, but to our credit, we didn't stop working. In 2019, we got around 10,000 visitors. Then post-COVID, we started getting 100,000, 200,000. In 2024, we got 1 million visitors at the Eco Village. So, many times when the community is starting off, you begin with, as they say, first you form the community. As soon as you form the community, there is storm. When there is a storm, then there is reform, and then there is norm, and then there is perform. So it takes time before things fall into place. So I'm very grateful that I got a chance to share the platform today with Vaisesika Maharaj, one of my heroes, and one of the main reasons why you're a hero for me, I've not even shared with you before, which I want to share now, with your permission. It's because he's one of the largest distributors of books all over the world, and especially their community leads in book distribution. So you may think, well, wait, that's not the main reason. That many temples do distribute books, many temples in India also distribute books. But why I especially respect him is because generally when the books are taken by the temples from the BBT, we take it at a price and then we sell it at a margin. And that margin and profit is usually kept by the temple, and we use it for various purposes. But Vaisesika Maharaj, throughout his career, has given the 100% of all the profits back to the BBT. Yes, Prana? Prana is impressed. That's a tough one. Yeah, you can come and take an interview now. So that's something which is very, very amazing, and it demonstrates the credibility and the character of the leadership. So congratulations for that fantastic example. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, can we please thank our speakers by putting our hands in the air, chanting the holy name one time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. They've very kindly given us time to ask questions. So if you have any questions, we have devotees with the mic. They can come to you, but clearly raise your hand if you have a question, and you'll be given a mic. Just because we have people watching online, please try to be audible so the speakers can hear and the devotees online can hear as well. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Vishwamba Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for the enlightenment tonight, Vaisesika Prabhu and Gauranga Prabhu. I was sometimes we are impressed, by some special points that there was, they were flowing tonight. One from Vaisesika Prabhu that he mentioned that Srila Prabhupada very much liked the challenge. He wanted the leader to raise the challenge, for devotees to meet. And on the other hand, Gauranga Prabhu, you mentioned about opinions and reminded me there's one purport where Prabhupada says, the proof of the individuality is that everyone has different opinion. And then Prabhupada goes on about different opinion means it gives birth, to disagreement, like you mentioned before, and disagreement brings dissolution. Now, I wanted to reconcile, these two phenomena. Sometimes, as a leader, I've been leading for many, many years, but I've been baffled on this. Sometimes there are devotees, young devotees, or even gurukulis, or hidden talent in the community who challenge, with their opinion in a nice way to have things done very nicely. And clearly speaking is their opinion. You can't take it away from them. And it's, sometimes a leader, he thinks, he knows it all. And we have a tendency, to put the weight on the opinion of intelligent devotees in the community. And also Prabhupada said, he wanted devotees to grow very healthy in individuality, independence, and being intelligent. So I would like to see, I failed myself on that as a leader, because very often the response is a reactive rather than proactive. As a leaders, we hold on, to our supreme opinion, and we try to disregard, other opinions, in the community, which are more valuable, to bring the growth and the healthy relationships I mean, I didn't want to sound like Keshava Maharaj said, that if someone has an opinion, it's not necessarily that he's criticizing the doings of the leaders or the community, but it's just that, they want to see things better. Now, my question to you is, as a leaders in the community, how do we find that common ground, from these big synergies of opinion amongst devotees, and move forward together without any creating dissolution? What the leader has to do to to allow those devotees to contribute for the betterness of the community. Because very often, I have my son, he's very intelligent, my oldest son. And the tendency was just to put a lid on it, but he shied away from ISKCON altogether. 10 years into Gurukul, he practically speaking, he knows all the verse of the Bhagavad Gita. He knows the major verse, of the Bhagavatam, and super intelligent. But, I was not trained, at how to keep him safe into the community of devotees. So I would like to ask both of you, or Gauranga Prabhu mainly, what should be the mentality of the leaders of the community towards the challenge that Srila Prabhupada is talking about, and devotees, when they do challenge us?
You go first on
Hare
this.
Krishna.
Gurukul and so many kids and everything.
He's insisting I go first, so I'll be brief. It's not so much an intellectual or philosophical issue normally. It's an emotional issue, and it has to do with whether members of the group feel valued. And I've noticed that leaders who take time, as Maharaj had mentioned a moment ago, to respectfully dialogue and try to understand, so that there's a sense that we care about you even if you have a different opinion. It's a matter of the heart. And if their hearts change, the heart is the driver. And whichever way the heart goes, that's the way the mind and the rest of the body will go. So it's important to have that sense that it's not coming from ideology as much as it's coming from a sense of being cared for, being appreciated, and being loved. And you said proactive. We can be proactive in those things and create an environment that helps all types of people to feel valued. Because, last point, there's a way in which you can put mission over devotees. And I remember when Chopati first started getting famous, it was one of the new ideas, which put devotees first, mission comes second. And that works. Om Tat Sat.
Thank you. I think moving forward, the leadership has to be more driven by grihasthas, because practically 99.99% of ISKCON is all grihasthas. So maybe in the first several decades, there were lots of sannyasis and others who were leading. But we need to now come to a balance where the communities are led by people who understand what are the needs of different contingencies within the community. Because I'm speaking as, I'm on the GBC, but I'm a brahmachari, so I have a very limited experience on various elements. I have a lot of experience on every aspect of ISKCON temple, because I have practically served in every department of an ISKCON temple. but socially, I have my severe limitations. So therefore, we need more and more grihasthas to be initiating gurus, to be on the leadership bodies, so that the policies can then be made by understanding the pain points on the ground. Right? When you have kids, when you have families, then you understand what are the difficulties and challenges and the pain points, and then that will then decide the policy making accordingly. So I remember, like, when my father met Radhanath Swami the first time, he didn't have any good impression about ISKCON and all that before. But when he met Radhanath Swami, he just liked him. And Radhanath Maharaj asked him what you were doing all your life. And he said, Maharaj, for 40 years I served the steel plant. And then Maharaj immediately said, now you serve the tulsi plant. And then Maharaj said that tulsi is an embodiment of perfect seva. And so we do the tulsi puja, so we get empowered how to serve so that we can please. So therefore, many times in leadership roles, we may not have that privilege that our decisions are actually accurate and positively please all the contingencies, but we are improving. So one of the biggest, I've taken up a role of GBC for human resource and capacity building within ISKCON, because today, ISKCON, amongst all spiritual organizations which I have observed, whether you consider Art of Living, Isha, or Sadguru, or Swaminarayan, or if you take Sai Baba or this or that, multiple Hindu organizations you compare, the amount of talent which we have, no other organization can even match anywhere close to it. But the biggest challenge is we have not even unleashed 5% of that potential of the talent which we have. And for the next 50 years, I would say that will be the greatest ask from the congregation and community of devotees. How do we leverage that and get that talent unleashed for the benefit of Lord Chaitanya's movement? So that's where I come from. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Here, one question.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for being here. And I can definitely attest to Vaisesika Prabhu for the vibrant community he's built in Silicon Valley and the kind of energy that exists there and how it helps you kind of move along in your spiritual journey as well. I just have a very quick question. I've been to the Govardhan Eco Village and Mayapur as well, and a lot of different places, but I'm just curious, for ISKCON, whether it's in India, whether globally, what are some kind of new projects that we should keep an eye out for? What is the kind of vision in terms of new ideas, anything that maybe we're not aware of that's kind of being cooked right now?
Well, there are many projects. None of them are coming directly into my mind, but I know when the leaders meet every year in Mayapur, the GBC meetings, and so forth, there's a lot of discussion about how to increase certain projects that are most important. And in the expansion of ISKCON, there are some basics that are very, very important. And I noticed that there's a lot of planning and smart devotees behind them working on like farming projects in different places, There's also expansion of temples in various places. There are digital excursions where devotees are experimenting with getting more people involved in that way. And I'll just say that I noticed that there are a lot of wheels turning with ideas, and there's a lot of care being taken behind the scenes to make sure that those things come out to the world. I think you can say more about the specifics.
There's the internet. There's a lot happening. Just if you look at Bhaktivedanta Manor itself, I would say that 5 years ago this building was not there. But now this has turned out to be one of the most beautiful convention centers in whole of ISKCON. You know, so beautiful, so attractive. So definitely, if you go to America, a lot of new temples opening every year in the outreach. If you go to Keshav Maharaj's website and projects, so there is Gita Daily, Think Gita, and so many other things. So a lot of things are happening, but I can share my email ID with you. You share your CV with me, we'll engage you. Let's cut a long story short. So we have like few minutes, so we can have quick questions, rapid fire.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for the wonderful lecture. Just wondering, I mean, I have personally, from my personal experiences, got the opportunity to facilitate a Sangha, and there are different reasons people are coming in the Sangha to engage their children. Some of their children are in spectrum, so they just want help their children to kind of, be engaged and develop new skills. So my vision for my particular Sangha is that, okay, whatever reason they have come for, that I would help them for that. But ultimately it should be, we all will be in the same page, so that, the ultimate reason is to get Krishna. But what if you don't get enough support, because it's a big responsibility, and you need expertise in that, and I'm very new. You don't get enough support from the authority, let's say, because the priority is number, quantity, and it's not their fault, but you feel that you need more support, but you don't get that. So just a question on that.
Okay. Well, if you don't get support, then you increase your chanting, increase your prayer, and gradually things will change, because you can't be in a complaining mood. So you have to be in the positive mode, and that's basically the essence of what we have been speaking about. So the ISKCON was never set up on the basis of assets. It was set up on the basis of Srila Prabhupada's attitude and his absorption in the instruction of Srila Saraswati Thakur. So therefore, commitment will be the one which will change the course of your seva, and not cash. And commitment is in your hand. Cash is in the hand of your authority. So you work on commitment, cash will follow. Okay.
Hare Krishna. I wanted to first say thank you very much. You've both been a hero of mine from the very beginning of my Krishna conscious journey. So it's a very privilege for me to be here. You mentioned Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya earlier. So the question I wanted to ask is that it seems to me that everything you both say makes crystal clear sense. And you seem light years ahead of many people and some of the things that they're saying. So how do you both personally deal with cognitive dissonance, where there's a saying, lead or get out the way? So sometimes it feels that things are obscuring or getting in the way. So how do you deal with that cognitive dissonance, because people are not caught up with where you're at?
So I think it's high-level English. You go ahead.
I find that there is a lot of cognitive dissonance, and it dissipates as I read Prabhupada's books. I think it's really important to read every day. Prabhupada mentioned that if you have issues you're dealing with, come together, read Srimad Bhagavatam and discuss. In such circumstances, there's a definite change in the environment. And anytime you're anywhere, if you restart the transcendental vibration, if you're at a crossroads and then you chant a little more and you read Prabhupada's books, the cognitive dissonance will dissipate and you'll get clear answers. And it's also important to pray. So what Advaitacharya did was he held open class on Bhagavad Gita and he prayed, but he just didn't pray in a normal way, he prayed hard. And the human body is it's built specifically for prayer. And if we engage in intense prayer and take help from the Shastra, reading Prabhupada's books, and then chant Hare Krishna with friends and also dedicate yourself to japa very deeply. We're not supposed to try to be great devotees, but we're supposed to try to chant great japa. And if you do that, then you'll get clarity. And that's the spiritual leadership means you have to have spiritual strength, and it comes from those touch points, chanting Hare Krishna, reading Prabhupada's books.
Yeah, I think she had a question.
Hare Krishna. You spoke about the meeting of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Lord Chaitanya, how Lord Chaitanya patiently listened to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya very respectfully for 7 days, even though he was speaking the Mayavad philosophy. But in another place, Lord Chaitanya also says that when we listen to Mayavad philosophy, then everything is destroyed in our spiritual life. So I was wondering, how can we understand when we should listen to somebody respectfully while they ramble on, or when should we just, stop that or go away or something?
Yeah, Lord Chaitanya was like the doctor who was healing the patient. So if we do not have the potency of a doctor, and we have a tendency to get infected ourselves, so better we run away. But if you have the potency of a doctor and you can heal, then you should stay. And that's what Lord Chaitanya did. His staying on and hearing ultimately transformed Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. We may or may not have that potency. Okay?
Hare Krishna.
In Santa Cruz, California once was a group of book distributors. I met a man, he had a daughter with him, she was 12. And I showed him a Bhagavad Gita. He said, "Oh yeah, I know all about these things." And he seemed okay with keeping the book till I mentioned that people often give donations and it's not a bad idea. And then he immediately rejected it, put the book back in my hand and said to his daughter, he was talking to his daughter, "See, they're all no good. They just want money. And besides that, there really is no meaning to this at all." And he went on a diatribe, and I did employ the Lord Chaitanya method by just standing there, and he told her, there's no difference between God and this street sign and other such epithets that he was mentioning again and again. And that went on for about 7 or 8 minutes. And then he got exhausted. And he pulled out $5, gave it to me, grabbed the book back from me, and handed it to his daughter and said, "Let's go." I have witnesses. So, in the context you're saying, if you let people speak, they don't really know what they're saying anyway, and then can change their...
They have to be potent like you. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhus. We are going to conclude the evening with a bhajan, so please do not all go, which won't be long. But a couple of announcements I want to share. At the temple, we are trying very, very hard to rekindle or enhance the community spirit that we have as our community is growing. And one of the one of the programs that we want to do, or we do already, but we want to invite our community to, is the morning program. How many of you have been to Mangal Aarti before? Okay, the others are hiding behind the hands. But we have an opportunity on the 27th of April, which is next week, Sunday, so not this one, next Sunday. We want to invite all of you and all our Bhaktivedanta Manor community to attend the Mangal Aarti at 4:30 a.m. Hari Bol! Mangal Aarti, chant with us. Keshav Swami is going to be there throughout the program, so something to look out to. Chant with us. We have Guru Puja, and then we will have class by His Holiness Swam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj as well. So please, everyone online, 27th, Sunday, everyone is welcome and invited to the program from 4:30 in the morning. So please do come. Also, we have some books just on the tables at the back. One is the title of today's program, which is The Legacy of Community Building in the Bhakti Tradition. So if you'd like, before you leave, you can take one of those. And that is by His Grace Gauranga Prabhu. And there's another, The 4 Questions, A Pathway to Inner Peace, written by Vaisesika Prabhu. So they're available at the back. We will now invite Mother Vishakha to please come forward, our temple president, and say words of thank you to our illustrious preachers. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think I speak on behalf of all of us at Bhaktivedanta Manor. We're so grateful to you both for coming and giving us your association. We know that even a moment's association with a sadhu can give unlimited benefit to the conditioned souls, and I think all of us feel very benefited by your presence here, by your knowledge, and also by your enthusiasm and your steadiness in Krishna consciousness. So please come again and again. Please make Bhaktivedanta Manor your community also. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all so much for coming. Hare Krishna.
This is a song written by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya about Lord Chaitanya's beauty and all his personal features. He was inspired after that conversation with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Mahaprabhu revealed his eternal form as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ujjvala varana goravara deham vilasita niravari bhava videham Tribhuvana pavana kripaya lesham tam pranamami cha shishachitanayam. Gadgarantara bhava vikaram Durjana tarjana nada vishalam. Bhava bhayava janakaranakaranam tam pranamami cha Shri Shachitanayam. Aranam Bharadara Charu Kapolam Indu Vinindita Nakachaya Ruchiram. Jalpita Nija Guna Nama Vinodam Tam pranamami cha Shri Satchitanaya. Vigalitanayana Kamala Jaladharam Bhushananavarasa Bhava Vikaram Gatiyati Mantara Dritya Vilasam Tam pranamami cha Shri Satchitanaya. Chanchala charu charana gati ruchira Manjira ranjita pada juga maduram. Chandra Vindinita Shitala Varanam Tam pranamami cha Shri Satchitanayam. Jatikati Tora Kamandalu Dandam Divyakale Baramundita Mundam. Durjana Kalmasha Kandana Dandam Tam pranamami cha Shri Satchitanaya. Bhushana Bhurajala Kavalitam Kampita Bindara Bhara Ruchira. Malaya Javira Chitta Ujjvala Tilakam Tam pranamami cha Shri Satchitanaya. Nindita Aruna Kamala Dalla Nayana Ajanulam Vitta Shri Bhuja Yugalam. Kalevara Kaishora Nartaka Vesham Tam pranamami cha Shri Satchitanayam. Ujjvala Varana Gauravara Deham Vilasita Niravari Bhava Videham. Tribhuvana Pavana Kripaya Lesham Tam pranamami cha Shri Satchitanaya. Jai Satchinandana, Jai Satchinandana, Jai Satchinandana, Jai Gaura Hari. Jai Satchinandana, Jai Satchinandana, Jai Satchinandana, Jai Gaura Hari. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Shri Harinam Mantra Ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki, Gaur Premanande. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande. Vanchakalpadurusha, Kripasindhavevasha, Patitanam Pavanibhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.